Should we do an episode that we upload in like 5 years?
Yes. Talking about what we think will be happening in 5 years.
But we have to do the whole podcast as if it's a live podcast.
Yes.
So we're predicting everything in the future.
So Pound is like married with 5 kids.
My kid was really annoying today.
Yeah, my kid won't shut the fuck up. Oh, Pound is actually recording this from jail.
We're like, how do we make this believable? Like, to start the episode, I'm like, oh boy, DC, I sure enjoy the year 2026.
I want to point out that I brought a bag of goldfish here, and every time I look at it and I'm about to reach for it, I just think of Bailey like scolding me for eating on the podcast. So I'm just gonna throw this across the room real quick.
When you said a bag of goldfish, I felt like a real goldfish because I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, where is this going?
They're crackers that are shaped like goldfish.
Now I'm
usually kind of cheddar flavored. They're really good. I'm glad we recorded. I mean, what would the podcast be without this goldfish tangent?
I used to have a friend who would eat goldfish food. Is that interesting?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. He used to like
disgusting.
stay at my house, right? And like he'd just like wake up like early in the morning and just start eating goldfish food. And I was like, when he was like 7, right? He wasn't conscious.
That's a clear insight to how he was treated in his home, right? His parents didn't feed him, kept him in a fucking locked cage, and fed him goldfish food. Oh, God. Rest in peace.
I don't know him. He might not be.
You single-handedly just reminded me of what happened yesterday. I was moved to a different branch for one day, so I'd never been there before. This one has a security guard. Very old. I think he's like 70 or 80 or so.
What's the point of those, by the way? Like, a 4-year-old girl could fuck that guy up. He's not protecting anybody.
It's a deterrent for people that are on the fence. Like, if somebody walks in and he's like, yeah, I might rob this bank, and he sees a security guard, he's like, yeah, I guess not.
Am I the only one who sometimes walks into banks and is just like looking around to see how hard it would be to rob?
Yes. No, I've done that too. No, right? I've done that too. I'm like, God,
it just feels like this is what I should be doing in this environment.
If the 3 of us spent 2 years planning to rob a bank, could we get away with it?
I mean, we could leave with money, yes, but
that's not getting away with it.
Getting away? No, probably not. No.
It's like saying, could we get away with murder? And Pound's like, we could kill a person.
I always thought, like, my whole life, that if I really put my mind to like planning a crime, I would be able to get away with it.
Nah,
maybe
it sounds egotistical, you know.
I think like anything that's like
I'm definitely egotistical.
Murder or like a high theft, I don't think so. I think like minor crimes maybe.
DC's gonna send us a picture of goldfish and he's gonna be like, sup? And we're like, what? He's like, I told you. We're like, told us what? He's like, yeah, I've stolen it.
But they're made of solid gold. That's actually what the bank keeps.
I actually did have a klepto phase in my teen years.
Oh, what?
Oh boy, let's get into this. Let's go.
I don't want to because it's like not cool or it's not good. I used to steal. from grocery stores or gas stations,
what?
You know.
Why?
Nothing serious. Because I like the rush. I've found in my time, I like taking risks. I like that adrenaline of like, can I get away with this?
DC's just on public transport masturbating. He's like, nobody can see me. He's like,
that's what it evolves into.
Candy at a gas station.
How old?
Anywhere from like 15 to 20.
20.
That's when it stopped. Like it really was like, what's the now I can tell that my brain is sort of fully developed because I'm like, what is the risk of getting caught stealing a $2 candy bar, right?
And what is the reward?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I've stopped that, but I used to just stuff shit in my pockets, if I like chapsticks or CDs or whatever.
He didn't even want them. He was just like, I'm taking this.
We interrupted your bank story.
Okay, so yeah, there's a very old security guard. He's like 80 or so. I forget what happened. I don't even know how this came up. I just walked by and he was talking to somebody else. And he's like, yeah, no, dog food's pretty actually healthy for you. So he starts listing studies. He's like at Carnegie University, they took 7 different cereals you would find at the store and they blended them up individually. And then they also blended up dog food, and the dog food won in a blind taste test and had higher nutrition.
Sir, if you put this much effort into furthering your career, maybe you wouldn't be an 80-year-old security guard at a bank. And then walk away.
No, he's like, eating dog food gave me enough strength to continue being a security guard in my 80s.
Did he pull a handful of dog food out of his pocket? I need to know this. And he's like, see, try it.
He didn't, but I'm picturing somebody comes into rob, because DC's asking, like, how is an 80-year-old security guard going to stop a bank robber? A bank robber walks in and, like, Popeye the Sailor Man's, like, pops some dog food in his mouth. His, like, biceps get huge and
It's a secret ingredient. That study reminds me of something. I was watching a video yesterday, and it was of My Strange Addictions. Do you know that show?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The guy who was, like, trying to fuck his car? Was that one of them?
That's one of them. That's one of them, right. But one of them was a girl who eats her own mattress. Right? And she was like, ate like a square foot a day or some shit. And
my God.
She went to the doctor about it, because obviously the show was about like getting rehab for it. And the doctor was like listing off all these things. He's like, it can kill your liver. Maybe it wasn't this, but it was just like a list of things, right? Like, it can clog all of this. And I'm sat there like, how have you studied this? How do you know that it does this to you? And that's sort of the same with the dog food study. Like, why are you testing this?
Right. That millions of dollars of taxpayers' money being put to dog food research, where we just literally could feed a
mattresses.
dog. Yeah. Wait, so did she? I just need to know. Was it a sexual experience for her eating the mattress?
No, it was more like she couldn't resist the temptation.
Okay. Imagine living life like that, dude. Where every night when you go to bed, you're just fighting the urge to eat your fucking mattress.
That was probably as expensive as steak, because mattresses aren't. I guess you can get wait, does she eat like the shit? Does she buy like the fast food of mattresses, or does she has to have like a Tempur-Pedic or something?
I didn't watch the whole show, but the show starts, right? And she's sneaking into her mother's bedroom to like take a bit of mattress and put it in her pocket and go back. And she's interviewed, and she's like, why don't you just eat your own mattress? And I'll give you both a guess as to what her answer was.
Because she needs somewhere to sleep?
No, she's already eaten it. It's gone. She's already eaten it. It's gone. So she doesn't even buy new mattresses. She just eats them, and then her family sleep on the fucking floor. Like, what is that?
Damn it, dude. I couldn't imagine having a kid, and I like catch Tommy upstairs in my room. I'm like, are you eating my mattress again? And he's like, I can't help myself, Dad.
But at what point do you stop them, right? Because there's a point they get so old where you're like, this has to stop.
Right. We're at the point where you just realize this is a thing, and this isn't going away anytime soon.
At the same time, I feel bad, because it's not like this is like a normal human being that's just like, I think I'll eat a mattress. It's not like potato chips where you can stop. I'm sure there's some very severe, like, because that's DC asked if it was sexual. That's what like the guy fucking his car, like something in his brain was switched, and like he derived sexual pleasure from like seeing vehicles. Like, it's not supposed to happen.
Right. Bailey, what was the answer to why she ate other people's?
Oh, because she already eaten her own.
Okay.
It's already gone.
It's already gone. She sleeps on the floor. Tara, I'm not buying you another mattress. You just ate the last 4 we bought for you.
I'm not trying to like make eating your mattress work, but did she put like barbecue sauce on it? Like,
I don't even know how you tear that with your teeth, right? The fabric?
Yeah, and there was like an origin story, and apparently like she started because she started eating car seats. And like, imagine like you're just driving and you look behind you and your door is just munching the fucking seat.
Pound, I would like for you to share, I don't know if you already did, with Bailey, your Microsoft venture.
Okay, I was wondering if I should even bring this up, because it's, I don't want to encourage people to do this. It's very stupid.
It was such a bad decision, like, initially, like, so bad. Like, never should have happened. Thank God it worked out. He's here today, and he's not at a soup kitchen.
Yeah, so I have $1,500 to my name, which is crazy to say, because my entire life I've had, like, $100 to $200. Anyway, I guess it went to my head, so...
He bought out the entirety of Microsoft. Right. Went to his head.
So I just walked in like, I have a check for $1,500. I'd like to buy your company.
Give me Microsoft.
He looked on the stock exchange, so it was like $250, and was like, I can buy that.
So, not to go into too much detail, but I bought something that's called a call option, and essentially, I want Microsoft to be above $260 a share at the end of yesterday, Friday. So what I saw was they were at $261, And then Joe Biden gave this speech about raising taxes, and the whole market dropped by like 1 or 2%. I saw it was very, very cheap to buy the call options. I put $100 into it. I'm like, this is reasonable. I put $100 into it. Immediately, within like the next hour, it drops 33%. So I lose like $30. And I can never admit I'm wrong. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll buy some more. So I put in like an extra $200.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because it's down to like 35 cents or something or $35 to buy one. And then it continues to drop, and I'm out like $300, and I'm like, okay, there's no possible way I could be wrong. At the end of the day, I put $750 total. Every time it would go down, I refused to accept I was right. So
50% of his net worth, yes.
Half my net worth. And the next day, so I'm like, I'm sweating because I don't know how much I'm down or up until 8:30 the next morning on Friday. So at the end of the day, if Microsoft is below 260, I lose every single dollar. I'm out $750. There's no recourse for me. The day starts. It's at 258. I'm down $600. I have, if I sold all of them back, I would have $150, but I'd be out $600. And I just sit there and watch it. I watch it climb up slowly. I see it get back to even. I've made back the $600 I've lost. I'm like, I could get out right now, like a smart person, and act like nothing happened. Yeah. I'm like, but I'm not a pussy, okay? So. Then a customer actually comes into the bank, and I have to actually do, and it's also like the longest, most mind-numbing thing to do possible. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be able to check my phone for a while. After like 20 minutes of helping them, I get a break where I can like step out my office because I have to go print something. I check my phone. My $750 is now worth $1,300. So I'm like, I'm out. I sell all of it. I make a profit of $550. I'm like, okay, if I hadn't checked my phone while I was helping them, like, where would I, because I was terrified. Mm-hmm. If it went down, I would have felt like a dumbass, you know? I doubled my money in like a day. I check. If I'd waited 30 minutes, it was now, my $750 was now selling for $3,900. Wow. I would have made a profit of over $3,000.
Crazy.
That is insane.
I hate this story because now I want to try something like that.
That's why I didn't want to share it.
I hate this, man, because I'm on my E-Trade account right now, and I'm like, you know what? I just bought some cryptocurrency. Like, I invested some more money in my stock portfolio. I want to take risks like that because, you know, like I said, I like the adrenaline. I like the rush. I almost needed you to lose all that money.
Because 90% of the time, because I bought something, normally you're supposed to buy these, they expire like a month or two from now. I bought it expiring in one day. So that's like as risky as it gets. 90% of the time, you lose 100% of your money. You make nothing.
Fuck.
10% of the time, you make some. That was my 1 in 10 try, and I cut it short.
I'll hit you up after the podcast. I just want to try it.
I would recommend not trying this.
I need to, bro.
You've just listened to a story about how Pound almost lost all of his money, and you're like, I'll hit you up.
All I heard was Pound made $500 and could have made $4,000.
Look, if you have like $10,000 in the bank or something or more, you know, it's fun. It's kind of like an expensive lottery ticket, you know, if you want to put $100 in every so often.
Hey, I haven't been able to go to the casino, and I've had that itch for a while.
That's what I was telling someone, because I haven't drank alcohol in probably a couple months, and I generally stay away from it in general. I don't do any drugs or anything. And so I think my brain is like, look, you need some kind of like fucked up vice, okay? So you're just gonna gamble all your money on Microsoft.
I'm right there with you, bro. Yeah. I can't stay on the straight and narrow for too long without trying to.
Sorry, who are we trying to influence here?
Yeah, right.
Well, my point was, don't do drugs, okay?
Yeah, I actually, you didn't catch me up with that Microsoft story, Pound. I had no idea where that was going.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's like I was expecting you to lose everything. Then you're like,
wasn't that a good story?
I was tempted. I was like, I kind of need that 250 that I had left. I was like, I should sell now for a loss, and I was like, nope.
I have a question. It's a psychology question for you guys. I want you to be honest with us. Whenever you hear somebody telling you a story, do you generally root for them to succeed or fail?
Depends who it is.
Is it someone I know?
We'll do both scenarios, somebody you know and somebody you don't know. Like when Pound was saying that story, like I wanted him to lose the money for like, I don't know what it is, but like then my brain was able to overcome that and be like, Pound needs that money and he's a good guy. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when other people come into good fortune, I think it's jealousy, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like, why couldn't that be me, you know?
Right.
Why couldn't
I wish I
do
didn't
it?
have that.
No, I think it's very natural. I don't think you should feel bad for it. Like, you don't sit there and you actively, like, consciously want people to lose. It's like subconscious, right? You don't go,
Yes.
I hate this person, I want them to lose. It doesn't make you a bad person. And especially because you have the conscious thought to be like, I should want them to win. I think that makes you a good person.
Okay, thank you. That makes me feel better.
I think part of it is it depends on if you feel like they're doing, and this is in quotes, the right thing. You know, if you invest the quote smart way, then you would expect every year you make about 8 to 10% or so in the stock market. That means every 7 years or so you should double your money. And then you see these other people, they're like, I've never bought a single stock in their life, and they're like, yeah, I saw on Twitter this guy said Dogecoin, so I bought it, and now I'm up 40x in one day. And you're like, you're kind of like, you're like, why is this person succeeding for doing
That's
the
where
wrong
it
thing?
stemmed from, actually. It's all this crypto Dogecoin shit, because I'm missing out. I'm sitting out on it, and I hear all these people making, like these, like you said, newbies to the game, making all this money. So I actually bought crypto on Wednesday.
The first time?
First time, yeah.
Which one, what did you invest in?
Ethereum and Cardano.
Nice, I know both of those. Just on the Dogecoin point, right? I started investing in like November, right? And it's pretty much like everything that I have is in a pretty safe portfolio. I want to call it pretty safe. It's not. But like what I found is that the smart investing I do makes me feel bad, because if it does well, it does well minorly, but if it does shit, I'm like, this should be doing well. Why aren't you doing well? Right? And then the shit that I read on Twitter, and like, I will like fraction it, right? So I have 99% of my money where it should be safe, and then I have like 1% to play with, right? I'm like, I don't care about losing this money. If it goes up, great, but otherwise I'm playing with it. It's like gambling, like what Pound did, right? Mm-hmm. And I find that the stuff where I just make stupid decisions that I don't care about always comes up more, right? I bought into Dogecoin when it was 0.14, I think, somewhere around there, right? And it went to like 0.42, right? Within like 2 days, or like something like that. Ridiculous, right? It like tripled. And I'm like, why am I doing any of this safe shit? Why don't I just risk all of my money like this? And it makes me so fucking sad.
Okay.
Yeah, so a problem with investing is that a lot of people, because people were in lockdown last year, a lot of people started like investing just for like, goof around, something to do when they're
it's a
in
good
the
way
house
to
all day.
pass time. I enjoy like making, like, it sounds stupid, but I enjoy making spreadsheets of what I'm doing and then like looking at companies and shit. It sounds really fucking nerdy, but it's pretty fun.
Over the last year, every single stock has like doubled or tripled because it was so low from the pandemic that everyone who started investing this year is like, oh, you just like buy literally whatever you want and it doubles like within a month or so. Yeah. And there's a lot of people they start like going on Twitter and YouTube and TikTok and giving out advice when they don't actually know what they're doing. And then they also get too cocky. So like they're like, yeah, I took out a cash advance on my credit card to buy Dogecoin. And then the moment it goes to like 1 cent or something, then they're like, oh, well, now I'm homeless. But I think DC is like having some influence on my life because it's always Malcolm Gladwell, okay? DC told me to read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. So I go to my manager at work. I tell him I'm reading this book called Outliers. My boss tells me, he's like, oh, my friend is written about in that book. He's in the, like, there's a story about him. And so I finished the whole book. I never hear about it. I'm like, what was because he said it was buddy. It was like some speed dating thing. And I was like, I've never, that didn't come up. So I searched on Google. I was like, Malcolm Gladwell speed dating. And I find the actual book. I forget which one it's called, but it was a different book.
It's called Blink. I'm listening to it now.
On the app I use to read books, it's Libby. It's connected to the library, so I can rent books for free. I search for it. I don't find it. So I just searched for Malcolm Gladwell books in general. I found this book called Tipping Point. And so I'm like, it sounds interesting. So I rent it. And then I didn't start listening to it. I rented it. I didn't start. I guess I was procrastinating. Instead, I started listening to a podcast. And then on the podcast, they're asked by a viewer, like, what are your favorite podcasts to listen to? This is how convoluted the story is, by the way. the podcast I'm listening to, they say their favorite podcast is the Tim Ferriss podcast. And that's one, I haven't listened to that in over a year, but it used to be one of my favorite ones. And so I was like, you know what, I'll go listen to Tim Ferriss today. So, as I said, I haven't listened to him in a year, so there's a big backlog I haven't listened to. I scroll through over 40 episodes before I find something that interests me, because I'm trying to find like a really interesting one. And so after scrolling through 40 different ones, I'm like, this looks good. I click on it. And the guy on the episode, he's a best-selling author. And he was like, you know, he said, I quit writing. I didn't write books for years. And I gave up on writing until I got an email from a fellow writer who asked me to write a foreword for the book. And he said, the foreword was for Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell.
Wow.
It was the most random string of shit to ever get to that point.
That's crazy, dude. It just shows you that these Malcolm Gladwell books are very popular.
If you want to get more general, I was going to say just like how connected everything is, like in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I won't bore Badger with my ebook story, but I'm listening to Blink right now. It's another psych book, Bailey, about how important our snap judgment is. Our initial first impressions is so much more valuable than overthinking.
And that's why I bought those calls on Microsoft.
All right, well, do you have anything else on your notes, Pound?
I literally have about 20 different topics.
How does so much stuff happen in your life?
It's been a month.
Yeah, I know.
Walk us through the last month of your life, because you guys are on lockdown. Dude, here, we couldn't be further from it.
I have a couple big things. One, that I can't share on the podcast because it's personal.
Okay. Good
and
content.
One that I can't share on the podcast yet because it hasn't finished developing. But I might be able to within a couple of weeks.
Is it a business venture?
Yes. Kind of.
Does it include content creation?
I can't tell you.
Come on, you can be very generic.
Nope.
You're not going to get the vaccination?
Not because I don't believe in it or think it's dodgy, just because I really hate needles. I can't.
No, that seems like the weakest reason. Have you never gotten a shot before?
I have when I was a kid, but not since I'm like 16.
It's really nothing. You don't even. It's just
It's the psychological of it, DC. It's not that it hurts. It's not anything like that. It's just psyching myself up to do it. I cannot. Mm-hmm. There's not a chance. I would just it's so irrational, and I get it, but I will completely melt down if it comes to like a day where I have to get a vaccine. I would just fucking die. Oh
shit!
It's awful. But even you can probably hear it how I'm talking. I'm really anxious talking about it. It's horrible, and it's the only fear I have. Like everything else I'm cool with, but vaccines I cannot do.
Okay, so far, what's this episode been about? We've promoted gambling all your money and not getting vaccinated. Yep. Okay, we're off to it.
The true American way. I don't know what that means. It's slightly racist, but...
Oh, I get the most bullshit ad on this one podcast I listen to.
We talk about ads a lot.
It's an ad for a car dealership in Houston, so why am I even getting it? But it's the guy... One, he talks in this very fake, Scottish accent. And maybe it's not even, but he's like, oh, welcome to my car dealership. It's kind of like doing a Shrek voice almost. Yeah. But it makes look, I'm not in car dealerships, so maybe I'm wrong on this, but they're doing a sale where you can bring in your old car for a trade-in, and they give you the full price that you paid for the car, right? So if you paid $20,000 for a car 10 years ago, you can bring it in and trade it in for $20,000. And then at the end of it, he's like subtracting only for mileage and damage. And I was like, isn't that how you would normally come to the price of a used car?
Yeah, but I was in an Uber last weekend, and the guy was telling me his son, bought a car, and then it was 3 years ago, and then he sold it because they made more money. He made more money than he paid for it. And it's because during COVID, they stopped making cars. You can't apparently get a new car right now if you wanted. And so that's why this guy's offering very high prices, because cars are just selling like crazy.
That's it. I'm going to go sell my car right now.
You should. The prices have never been better. But then I was in the same position, and I was like, well, then fuck. Then I would need to go buy a car.
Right?
DC's like, yeah, I don't want to sell my car. I mean, what would I do? Walk?
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, the walk game is still strong for those who are following my journey of walking.
It'd be funny if that's our core audience is just like walking enthusiasts. Like, they skip through like 20 minutes of bullshit. They're like, how many steps did he get?
I'm waiting for somebody to be like, why don't you try running? Like, what's wrong with you? It saves so much time. But I found that it's just, I live in a park, right? Like, there's a park.
Wait, you're homeless? DC going to crypto 3 days ago and he's like, I now live in a park.
I don't live in the park. There's a park right next to where I live.
Why do you say you live in a park?
Well, because it's all around me, so I just consider it like, whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Yep, I do, but it was just really weird phrasing.
And you know what else I tried, which I haven't done in a long time, which I really want you guys to try once.
It's literally going to be gay sex, I know.
No, go out in the woods or just sit on your bed and play. There's a 10-minute guided meditation and take it seriously.
What were your two options there? Go to the woods or sit on your bed? Those are your two options.
He lives in a park, they're the same thing.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying you can go somewhere relaxing, or you can, if you don't want to, you can literally do it in your room. Dude, there was this kid at work. He's a temp. I won't get into it because it's going to boil my blood again. But I work in IT and we're pushing this. He's trying to develop this new direct access for Microsoft where you're always connected to our network no matter where you are. Twice now, instead of testing it in a test environment, he's pushed it to live computers and fucked up like 65 users. And it creates so much work for us and it's just a pain in the ass. And I just want to go in there and slap him in the dick and just be like, shut the fuck up. So after work, I did this meditation and it was talking about like breathe in new energy and like release all the toxic, which is normally sounds like bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I did it and I took it seriously. Didn't open my eyes for the whole 10 minutes to get the full experience. And I felt myself actually releasing the negative energy of the hatred that I felt for this specific man. And it made me it relaxed me and energized me. So I just want to challenge you to do that. I think it could be very helpful if you're ever stressed out.
Yep, I'm stressed out by having to do this podcast every week. So
Right.
Yes, just meditate right before it.
I have a touching story that it's gonna sound so it's gonna sound so fucked up. There's no way for me to say this without it sounding fucked up, but it's still sweet. So just don't say anything. Just say, oh, look. Don't say anything. I'm going to tell the story, and then at the end say, "Oh, pal, it's a really sweet story." Okay,
all right, I'm going to go make coffee, guys.
Yeah, me too. See,
it's a short story. This lady and her son came into the bank for me to help them. The lady's probably 60 or 70. She's probably 60, and her son's about 40 or so. The lady is in a wheelchair, and her son, I don't know what specifically was wrong with him, but he was mentally handicapped in some way. She would be like, "Oh, son, can you get my wallet out, my purse for me?" And I was like, "Oh, that's really sweet." Like the mom thinks for him, and he like physically does stuff for her. They're like a combo.
Are you kidding me?
Because she can't move and he can't think, so they help each other.
He's able to think. You walk up to him and like give him a $5 bill. You're like, "Hey man, I know you can't think, but maybe this will help." He just starts clapping his hands like a monkey.
He just stares at it like a confused dog.
Cut that out. Yeah, definitely cut that out.
The whole thing. It's alright, DC. All of our viewers are mentally handicapped. They can't think about you anyway.
Look, if my story was done in some cute Disney animation, everyone would be like, "Oh, that's a great story."
Yeah, until you said that he can't think.
The whole time there'd just be question marks and baboons with cymbals clapping in his hands.
Yeah, the point was great story.
Why did he get transferred is what I want to know.
They were just short a person.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It was for abusing some disabled people.
Yeah.
Every time they walked in, I was like, "Oh, look at him."
No.
You like want to pet him like a dog. He was a good boy.
I fed him dog food.
The God was talking to him when he walked in.
I can't. I should not be.
Oh dear.
Anyway, what other touching stories do you have?
I don't know why I thought about this the other day. But, we have a Discord group, there's probably like 20 people, that are active, in our little group of friends. I was wondering, every single one in our group, all of us, we use Discord, we used to play Clash Royale, we watch lots of YouTube videos. Why did us three in particular become like streamers and stuff? Because it's not hard, like it's free to stream. Like you can download OBS for free. It's like why did like Badger, Glaze, like why did nobody else ever stream? Why was it us three in particular? Like what about our personalities?
Extroverted.
We're all egotistical cunts.
Yeah, thinking that we would provide good content to the world.
That was the end of my note. I said, do you need an ego? ? So I was
100%.
Do you think that's
No,
you have to
I don't think so.
You have to think that other people would enjoy watching you.
Well, everyone has some sort of ego, but you don't need a necessarily big one. You can just make content because you want to make content.
Yeah, but those are, when you see those people who like literally don't care if anybody's watching, they just like to stream because they love it. Like those are the people who don't have any ego attached to it.
Yeah, none of us.
And I'm like, I got 3 viewers, like fuck off, like I'm ending stream.
I'm just like, I've been here 30 minutes, fuck off, I'm ending stream.
Yeah, I don't know. We should ask them that. Why, Badger, why haven't you streamed?
Badger's not the type.
That's what I'm saying. It's a personality thing, I think.
Yeah, it's not necessarily ego though. That's just a personality thing.
I don't know if this is it, but all of us when we started, we were like, if I blow up, I could do this for a living. Like that was a goal when you started. Yeah.
Yes. And for some reason, I still think that's a possibility, and I haven't.
Why do you think I'm doing
months.
this? The podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
I have full faith that we could get 1,000 views.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I think it could. I think we have to clean up our act a little bit.
We have no, I'm joking.
I listened to a crypto podcast this week because I was learning about it, and just I couldn't comprehend why crypto had value, and I couldn't understand that like it was a full like money democracy. I didn't understand any of that really. But I was listening to the podcast, and these guys are like, it's just a clean. They're well spoken.
Yeah, but it's boring.
No, I know.
We don't have a subject either. Like we don't come here every week and like we're gonna talk about crypto. It's like we couldn't do that. If we did like a fucking Clash Royale podcast, we could do that, right? But we don't have a topic. We just come here and we talk.
So I wonder if that's hurting us though, like coming with no structure at all.
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up, right? Because all the podcasts I listen to are ones where they just turn up and talk, but they have like an episode structure. So for example, one that I listened to recently did, and this is actually I had this thought when we were talking earlier. They had a whole structured episode, and it was on could you get away with murder, and they did an hour-long segment, and they all they wrote their notes and stuff they want to talk about.
What I was going to add to that is all the podcasts I listen to that don't have like a theme or a structure where it's just random every episode, all the people I know of with that, they had followings from before. Like they were YouTubers with like a so-and-so amount of subscribers.
Well, if only one of us was a YouTuber.
Right. No, I think I have 23 subscribers actually.
Right.
But yeah, they're already invested in that person, so they could just listen to him ramble and kind of have an understanding of who that person is.
I got a text from my dad like 2 days ago, and his friend had 2 children, and they're big into YouTube, so he messaged me and was like, what's your YouTube account? They want to follow you. I'm like, haha, no.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just lied to him. I was like,
you're like Mr. Beast, yeah.
yeah. Should have told him like some really big channel.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I want to, because I'm not able to promote this podcast to my network to get it more views.
Your network? Is that what you call your friend group? You're like, guys,
Yes.
I really enjoy our network.
But like I could post it to like my public social media, give it to like work friends. Like I can't do any of that.
I mean, you can.
I'd be fired and shunned.
Well, you choose what you say on this podcast, not me. Don't blame me.
All right, I got like 20 more minutes.
Right.
I mentioned these last night. Pound's some of the words he says in the situations are. I was like, I got 20 more minutes, and Pound goes, right, like it's a joke. Like, I love how he says these things.
So basically, you're confessing your like love for Lorna, Pound.
Right.
There it is, dude. All right.
Good.
Let me give you some the listeners anyway, some real advice. I was listening to that crypto podcast, and they were talking about like every time I want to go on a walk or something, I want to listen to a show on Netflix or music. Not music, that's fine. but I want to listen to something that's like mind numbing. And I listened to this podcast, and they said that like,
Wait, you listen to this podcast because it's mind numbing?
no, the crypto podcast. And I'm gonna butcher this, but basically, just be very aware that what you listen to is like food for your brain. So if you want to continue to learn and become smarter, and what made me think of this is looking at these timelines all day is just filling your head with garbage and useless shit. Like, just cut it out and really pay attention to what you feed your brain. And so when I go on walks and stuff, I that's why I force myself to listen to audiobooks. And I'm always happy I did. But I think it's just, like even doing those crosswords last night, your brain just works differently when you're actually exercising it and trying to improve it.
Absolutely.
That's all I'll say.
And I got a word for DC, but I don't know what the word is, so I don't have a word for DC. But I want to find a word for DC, right? He's the meditating, the walks, the anti-social media. What is the word I'm looking for?
Like a wannabe self-help guru, or
there we go. DC the self-help guru.
A hipster.
Well, it's almost like hipstery, but it's not.
I mean, I'm the exact same way. Like I own a Zen pillow to meditate on. I haven't done it in like 2 years, but there was a month where I did it every day for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think what matters is you're making an effort to do that. At least you're aware that you're trying to better yourself. Because, dude, I spend so much time on Twitch, and I'm like, this is garbage for my brain. Like absolute garbage. And so I started watching it less, watching, YouTube videos where they TED Talks and all that stuff. And I think it really helps. That's all.
I think it was Cal Newport. I was listening to DC. Do you know who Cal Newport is? Because you would love this guy.
I've heard the name. Who is he?
Yeah. Well, he does a lot of like, he says like, there should be less emails during work because it like interrupts your flow. And he doesn't own a smartphone. He only has like something they can call and text with.
He's just really poor.
Right? Yeah. But he's very disconnected from, using the internet all day. Like, he uses the internet, but not all day. And one of the things he was talking about that really stuck with me, and actually it changed how I edit the podcast. Because what I used to do, I've told you this, I have dual monitors. On one monitor, I'd have Audition that I would edit in. And on the left side, I would play like Family Guy or King of the Hill or something. And what he said was maybe I'm confusing two different things, but one of the things he said was boredom is what drives people to do things. If you're just on your phone all day, you're not going to be bored. So I'm not going to edit the podcast because I could be watching YouTube videos or doing something else. That's why meditation is important, because you sit there for 10 minutes and don't do anything.
Yes.
And that's something that I cannot piss. Like, some people can't take a shit. That sounded really weird out of context. I cannot piss without my phone. Like, I make sure I have my phone to go spend 20 seconds in front of the toilet.
I'm exactly the same way, and it's partly a stage fright thing, and it distracts me. But I'm totally right there with you.
Wait, you're pissing on stage? What did you just say?
No, like I used to have serious stage fright where you couldn't pee if there was like somebody else at a urinal next to you. So pulling out my phone helped me with that. But yeah, it's totally, I can't take a shit without my phone.
Oh yeah, there's no way. Like,
when I meditated for 10 minutes, I got to like think and actually like clear my thoughts. I got up and thought about all I wanted to do for the next few hours, what I could get done.
When I have something to do, like, I'll purposefully leave my phone in another room if I need to like shit before I go. But like, if I don't, then I'll take my phone because it makes it less boring.
Right, and that's what Pound's talking about. Like, you're just going to waste time.
Well, I'm wasting the time anyway.
No, you're probably shitting longer on average when you have your phone.
But would I rather add 50% to the time it takes but not be bored, or do it in 50%, or do it 50% quicker?
It's not that using your phone while you take a shit is bad. In a vacuum, it's that
the habit.
It trains your brain to know that you should never be bored. And if at any point there's when have you ever done nothing for 5 seconds and not taking your phone out? Like, if you're in line at a grocery store, if you're literally doing anything.
Yeah, 100%. In an elevator, try to go in an elevator without pulling out your phone. And we could get into the huge discussion of how that's an existential crisis for for your generations and the generations coming up, right? They are not comfortable in silence. They don't converse. They don't engage. They just numb by going into their phones.
Yeah. When I like put something in the microwave or something, I like come back upstairs instead of staying downstairs and waiting for it. Because
I'm the same way. I walk away.
What?
I'm the same way. I walk away from it.
Yeah, because even though I have to go upstairs, and then by the time I get upstairs, like, my shit's done. Like, I
We're
can't deal with
impatient,
boredom.
instant gratification
It's like
needing
that whole
machines.
minute. Like, I'll just stand and watch the timer. It's like, that's a whole minute, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to actually do that next time I microwave something for
Watch
a
the
decent
timer.
amount. I'm going to sit there and actually just force myself to watch it. Challenge accepted.
When lockdown started, I ended up moving into doing Trovo instead. But the first like month of being unemployed, I was like, because I didn't want to be a waiter anymore. I fucking hated it. I hated the hours. I was like, I want to be a computer programmer because that's something I could learn by myself. I didn't need to go to college or anything for it. What I would do, I would put my phone in another room. So I would sit on my computer and focus. And after maybe like 10 minutes, I would get up, walk to the other room. So what I ended up having to do was, just so I could sit down and learn, I had to put my phone in my car, it was a very big apartment complex. I drove half a mile away and parked as far away as from possible. I left my phone in there. And that was the only way I could actually sit on my computer for like multiple hours without checking it, was for me to have to walk 10 minutes to go get it.
I hope you realize, like, your computer also has twitter.com on it.
Well, no, so this is the weird part. Maybe this could be...
It sounds like I put all of the technology half a mile away, walked home, and sat by technology.
On my computer, yeah.
I'll get into this on the next episode because we're winding down right now. But until I started streaming on Trovo, when that happened, I didn't have internet at my apartment.
How did you learn how to code?
Yeah, that was a purposeful that was a purposeful choice where I said, if I want to use the internet on my computer, I have to like drive out to the library to be. So I would go to the library, I would download tutorial videos and the coding programs, and I would go home. So I couldn't go on YouTube, couldn't go on Reddit. My computer was literally just like a brick. I could only watch the videos I downloaded on it. And I fucked up, but like I'm glad that I got back into streaming and stuff. It's fun, but that was actually not being able to use your computer was an because that was for like 6 months. I did that.
Yeah, what did you do with your time?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time I'd goof around on my phone because I have data, but it really makes you read more because that's the most interesting thing you can do without internet.
Well, that is boring,
right? Yeah, agreed. That it's the only thing to do.
Yeah. But as I was saying with the Cal Newport thing, the last 2 episodes I've put out, I close out every single application except for Adobe Audition. And then I set my dual monitors to just both be on Audition. So they're on the same thing. So there's literally nothing happening in my room except me editing the podcast. And I think it goes faster because, when I was watching Family Guy on the other monitor, sometimes I'd be like, oh, this is a really funny part. And I would stop. I would watch the show for like 10 minutes. And now I'm completely in a zone. And it's because I let myself get bored. And that's why I was saying it's important to not use your phone all the time, because editing, it gets boring. After like 10 minutes, like it's kind of boring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
especially this podcast.
I'm teaching myself to be bored. Like I'm bored, and that's okay. Yeah. I work through it. And it's been very helpful.
There we go, dear listeners. Go watch your microwave countdown and you'll be a better human.
Well, last thing I'll say about this topic is I went to my friend's surprise birthday party last weekend.
Sounds like gay sex.
And there was a lot of it there.
It sounded nothing like gay sex whatsoever.
That's right, it's funny.
And so there's a bunch of people, and there were strangers there, and you were standing conversing at like a party environment, and it was and when you're 30 years old, party environments are much different than probably what you guys are thinking. And it was I had this thought after like 2 hours in. I was like, God, I can't like wait to go home and like watch Twitch and just sit on my bed. And I was like, did I have that thought process before COVID where we literally all we were allowed to do was like stay home and just watch media? Mm-hmm. Or was that always there and we just ignored it and we're better at dealing with it?
It was dormant.
Well, it grew because that's what people would make jokes. They're like, oh, I just drank every bottle of wine in my house and I finished every show on Netflix a month into the pandemic. So like people were sitting there watching for 16 hours a day. They were watching Netflix and that was all they did. And so it definitely grew the problem. And
created a lot of bad habits.
Yeah. The last thing I'll add onto it is, and I've noticed this about myself, for the younger viewers listening, there are several things I think about technology and phones and meditation and stuff that literally just 3 years ago, I would have like, if me 3 years ago was talking to me right now, I would like, yeah, you're a fucking like dumbass. Like, I hate you. Like, I sound like I would make fun of people who talk
Right,
like DC.
exactly.
I made fun of people like DC 3 years ago.
Yeah, I made fun of me 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I still do.
Right? Yeah.
So I have a challenge to you two and the listeners. If you get
Challenge rejected.
if you get invited to something or an opportunity comes up where you have to go somewhere and interact with people, go to it. Force yourself to go to it. That's it.
And don't wear a mask and don't get vaccinated.
I'm moving May 17th, so
Wow.
I have to start packing, which is my least favorite thing to do, is moving.
Well, I quite enjoyed it when I moved out. It's quite therapeutic.
I hate it.
You enjoyed the like physical process of moving?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But was that the first time you moved out?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I've moved
it's probably-
like
it's probably-
20
it's probably-
times in my life.
yeah.
Like, it was exciting for you. I get that.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to work from home 2 days a week now, which is amazing.
Yeah, you're
Breaks
right.
up the work week. Makes it way more enjoyable.
But wait, where do you walk to then?
I walk around the park that I live in. That's pretty much it. I don't think I'm one of those guys who doesn't look at their calendar. Like, if something comes up, I am reminded of it like the day before.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like it, but so I don't like every week is a surprise. I don't know what's going to happen. There could be something planned that I'm unaware of that Jenna will have to remind me of. But yeah, I'm in a good rhythm right now, so I'm enjoying it. Just working, walking, and packing. It sucks. It sounds so boring. Go ahead, Pound.
I don't know why, but as of about 2 weeks ago or so, I felt very happy. Like, I felt like, because when I started at my work, it felt like I worked, I work 5 days a week and then I have the weekends off. But it felt like I worked like 10 days in a row and then had like 1 day off is how it felt.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but as of about 2 weeks ago or so, it feels like I work and have time off like almost even. Like, it feels like weekends come very quickly and they feel like they last a while. I don't know what changed, but I've just been enjoying my time more. I know Twitch has been a little more active for me. Like, it's not like popped off or anything, but on Sundays I get like 6 or 8 viewers that are actively like chatting. So that's been fun for me. I've actually been doing the podcast the last 2 weeks. I've put out a new episode, so I think that's part of it because I feel actually productive. Because I think what I would do is it'd be Sunday night and I'd be like, I didn't edit the podcast at all, and that would feel bad. So now I'm putting, because everyone wants to do something, people like building stuff, or I'm making something creative every week, and I think that's helping me feel like I did stuff during my free time. I'm actually going to go walk. The moment this ends, I'm going listen to a podcast and walk,
Bailey, I challenge you. No, I'm just kidding.
DC's getting to you. You're a fucking hippie now.
Well,
Right?
I know. I hate
No,
myself.
I've been doing this for a while now.
The other corny thing I'll add, Jenna taught me this last weekend because we were walking and we were like, what is this feeling? And she's like, we're happy. And I was like, oh God, I hate this. And she's like, joy, she reads a lot of like mental health, self-help, empathy books, stuff for her job. And joy apparently is the hardest emotion for humans to express and sit in, because all we do when things are going well is we're just like, what can go bad?
It's not used very often. The last time I used it was March 14th. But in my Discord server, I have a channel called Quotes where I put things that I feel like I want people to read. And once again, I would make fun of me 3 years ago for like posting these pseudo-intellectual quotes, but I think they're nice. And that just reminded me of the first one, the one I made the channel for. I said, a sick man wants only one thing, while a healthy man wants 10,000 things.
I still hate like self-help books and shit. I will put that out there.
95% of them are people trying to like make money off of you that don't care about you, but you can find good ones that are helpful.
Can I complain real quick about
Yeah, we'll end on your complaint.
people? Okay, COVID. It's a big deal, right? Many deaths, many years, a year and a bit of our lives taken away. Get vaccinated when possible. However, don't fucking post a picture of you getting vaccinated on Twitter. It's fucking disgusting.
Dude. I saw these profile pictures on Facebook, and it was
it's
like
fucking
the
awful.
border that says, I don't care if you were vaccinated, and I chuckled a little bit because everybody was
Yes.
posting those. Yeah. I hate it.
These two girls had to delete their TikTok account because they posted a TikTok video of them like they're wearing masks going inside like a country club restaurant or something, and they're like, when you walk into the all Republican country club and you're the only people there wearing masks, and somebody like went to their Instagram and posted all these photos of them like in bars and clubs with no mask on, like partying. So they're literally just like trying to like let other people know, like, oh, look how cool I am, you know, I wear a mask, when they really don't. All right, guys, thanks for listening to BDP episode 13.